so we'll probably do that if nobody has something that came up.
Yeah, just so you're aware. I mean, I definitely want to talk about mantras because just like Danny was saying, like I've heard from a few people, um, prominent authors and such too, that mantras are you know, game changing when it comes to the meditative practice. And I just feel like I haven't even tried tapping into that yet. In
Hmm.
fact, I only really have one mantra that I use consistently, and it's less a practice in itself and more so something to assist all my other practices.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to explore mantras for sure, a little deeper, um, as well as ideally I wanted to talk about mudras as well,
Hmm.
because some mudras really have resonated with me with certain practices, and I want to um, explore the idea of okay, here's some mudras. This is kind of what you can use them for, and then maybe use those with um, different meditations that I already have. You know, um, this is
Hmm.
mudras.
Hmm. um, I would say that in terms of meditation, um, uh, mudra is not necessary.
Mm,
A mantra is not necessary.
mm,
A cushion is not necessary. A candle, a Buddha statue, none of it's necessary. Is it nice to have a little, Ganesha Murti? Yeah, nice. Is it nice to have the incense you like? Is it nice to have your cushion? Yeah, would it be nice to have a mudra? Yeah, can you feel it? Does it change it for you? Maybe. Um, um, if I were to um, just look up a list of verbs in our language, I don't know, there's 1,000, 10,000, whatever, there's a bunch of verbs. Probably many of those verbs we could kind of uh, uh, link them to careers or jobs. Like that verb is what those people do, or that verb is very important to people doing this. And I say career, not job, just to give you the idea of it could be a lot of output, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of result. Um, and if I was to say to you, um, if I was to ask 10,000 people in my audience, um, uh, what do you plan to do? I might get 10,000 different answers. I'm going to make oatmeal cookies. I'm going to shop for turnip seeds. I'm going to relace my shoes. I don't, whatever. Like again, 10,000 verbs could come up, right? And if I said, what are you afraid of? They could have 10,000 things. What do you look forward to? 10,000 things. What do you want to have? 10,000 things. What do you need to do? 10,000 things. There's just the possibilities of humanity are essentially endless and infinite and hard to predict. And they could all account for an awful lot of action, an awful lot of doing, an awful lot of time, an awful lot of output, an awful lot of input, an awful lot of wear and tear, zillions of calories burned, right? So varied, let's say infinite, right, or myriad and varied, and complex, right? And they're all variously valued by different people, all those different things to do, careers. And we know it's a career, it's valued by somebody because it's only a career because you keep getting paid. So it's valued by somebody. Maybe not enough, but it's valued. So all of that I just said, verbs, myriad, endless, action, calories, complexity, all of that, which is, you know, that created an iPhone that I keep in my pocket, that, got propane into the heater to heat the school. Like, I don't know, somehow made my shirt. All that stuff did stuff and I benefit from it. But I just want to talk about meditation.
You did that thing again. You just did that again.
Just just meditation. It's simplicity. It's simplicity. It's simplicity. It's simplicity. But we spend all our time learning to value complexity. And we spend all our time in complexity chasing value. We don't tend to spend much time valuing simplicity or in simplicity. And rather like playing outside in the mud and coming inside to the dining room with the white tile, right? You're going to um, you're going to give an effect of where you had been, where you go. When you come inside from the mud, go into the white tile dining room, white linen table, right? White dog. You're going to splatter mud. And so even when people tend to arrive at some even halting or tentative or slight valuation of simplicity and meditation, they tend to arrive from the mud, right? So here in the West, if you go into a yoga studio, you almost necessarily have to walk through the gift shop to the floor where the yoga is taught, where they teach you about you don't need possessions and everything. But you have to go through the gift shop where it's 20% off for new members. Like, it's very hard not to splatter the mud from where you do spend your time. And I'm not saying it has no value and we don't derive value from it. It's very hard to go and dine here and not leave a mark of where you had spent your time. Right? It really helps to have a shower in the middle. Take a shower, fresh clothes, clean the mind, and then go in and dine. So I haven't said mudras are bad or unimportant. I haven't said mantras are bad or unimportant. But I do want to make the point that if we're in this place of hesitatingly, haltingly trying to derive some value from simplicity, or trying to spend some time in simplicity and probably arriving at some valuation of it, they don't want to recklessly, um, undiscernedly just draw in my previous values and say, I'm here to meditate. What can I buy? What else do I need? What are the accessories that go with it? And I've had people come into me like, I want to do your meditation. Let me order a pillow, and do you have a t-shirt, and can I buy a necklace or something, like something, or a murti or something? You don't need any of that. And down the road, if you want it, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'll sell it. I'll make a few bucks. It might bring some pleasure if you have a little incense or candle. Like, it's not bad. But when it's a reflexive, undiscerned um, application of the mud to the dining room, then you're not really going to be um, getting the nutrition the dining room offers. So very often people will come into meditation and say, there's so little to it. What else is there? Here's a mantra, here's a mudra, here's a mala beads, just put these, oh, it's just really good. Or here's the incense my teacher recommends. Or get these 3 books. But let's not forget that all of human existence is in a different category than the simplistic promise of meditation. And if you just haplessly track in from the mud, you change what it is when you get there. I find it very similar, by the way, to doing Tai Chi. Tai Chi is one of those few arts where you don't really need to buy one thing ever. Just do your studies. You do kendo, you're gonna have to buy a few things. You do boxing, you're gonna have to buy a few. And it makes sense. You do need a mouth guard and gloves or something if you're gonna buy. I'm not saying you don't need it, but it's not as simple as Tai Chi. And yoga can be that way too. You probably don't need a yoga mat. You probably don't. If you sweat a lot and have a really slick floor, maybe it's nice. Is it nice to have a yoga mat in the color you like with the lotus that they did? That's nice. Yeah. But most people don't learn what they need. They just buy what they expect to need before they discover what they need. So they show up with the yoga mat. I've seen people show up with like yoga props to a class that doesn't, a style that doesn't use props, but they bought them all. I got everything I need. Please don't bring your complexity to our spiritually, our spiritual embrace of simplicity. Anyway, I ordered our new meditation blankets. They'll be here next week. $49.99 in your color. It's a steal. It really is a steal.
So, if I could say something.
Please.
So like some of the stuff I study about in Ayurveda, there could be like certain imbalances, like you have a basic episode like
Mhm.
Vata or something like that,
Sure.
where meditation, just simple sitting meditation, may be not the best for that individual. Somebody who's has gone to like manic episodes or schizophrenia, stuff like that. They may need something more tangible, earthy, grounding, whether using mala or
Sure.
like that. So, there are instances when these tools may, I know what you're talking. I know
Sure.
what you're talking about simplicity, but I'm saying there's also really complex human beings.
Oh yeah.
Where like Tai Chi might be better than sitting on a where you're actually getting into your body and moving.
Right.
More involved, rather than just like, hey, let's sit and have where there's a lot of space and stuff already going on.
Right.
You don't really necessarily want to. It's kind of like the air ether. You don't really want to compound or kind of make it worse.
Yeah, and I'd say like in terms of if the tool proves to be helpful or prescribed, at that point, pick up the tool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of talking about somebody that just shows up with all the tools. And it's like, oh, you've kind of changed the whole dining room just by showing up with all your stuff. If it turns out you need less pitta, let's consider this tool. And even then, I would say for that person, I would make the case that meditation could be performed in a way that it never needs an external tool.
Yeah.
Might it be a little faster if you had a mala or something? Could be, but I would argue that it never needs it. But still, again, we're tool users. We might say, here's a tool. Let's take this and use this in your case for you, and I know why. And it's considered. It isn't just a reflexive reflection of the mud that you live in that kind of leaves a mark wherever you go, and then it's sort of non-conscious. And that to me, it'd be like if we were meditating and somebody came in with a loud voice. It's like, you kind of didn't really, that's a little like painful, if somebody came in, they thought we were open or something, hey, sorry, we'll give us a minute, but it would be like an extra kind of insult if they came in like in the middle of telling a bad joke or something. Like, that's kind of messing, that's getting mud in this dining room. Um, so, um, so mantras just stems from the root, the word think. Um, um, Let me address the problem with mantras first. And the problem is not with mantras, the problem is with people, because it's a problem. So it's always with people. Um, Mantras are often um, uh, taught to be things that are unique, special, secret, private, and magical, powerful. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Maybe they can be, maybe they aren't in this case. But they're secret and private, so nobody's going to know. So often a mantra is um, awarded, given to a person by the teacher, and then there's a great deal of emphasis on this is not to be shared, this is not to be spoken aloud unless you're alone, this is unique to you, special magical power from me because you have ascended to the place of readiness and whatever. And there's no way you're not going to feel special when that happens. And they will protect that the way they will not protect their own sins. They'll tell you those over a beer, but they will not tell you their mantra. So one of the challenges with that is that it asserts a power imbalance between the teacher and the student. The teacher tends to benefit from it while the student thinks they're benefiting from it, which is an exacerbation of the power imbalance. Secondly, it's always a secret. So who knows if the teacher is saying the same thing to every student? And there isn't anything unique about it to you, but you'll never share it, and neither will the other students. So who knows? Do I have evidence the teacher's lying to you? I don't. Do I have evidence they're being truthful? I don't. Are you ready to believe? Of course, you're getting a mantra. You're ready to believe it. I'm just saying that is not a healthy dynamic to have such secrets where you have great power and power imbalances, the power in the mantra and the power imbalances. Could it be done in that way, in a wholly healthful way? I suppose maybe it could. Did it come from healthful reasons? Could there be sincere practitioners? Sure. Why would it be necessary for it to be secret? There isn't a good reason. So I just wanted to kind of address that. It's a very, very common way for mantras to come about in the systems that we see them stay alive in. There's a power and a secretiveness and a specialness and a uniqueness that's purported. And it's asking you to suspend your critical thinking and your powers of discernment to do that. But if you do that, you feel pretty special because you got one. And then you will, of course, convince yourself it works because it is special. You started by saying it's special. You didn't start by learning if it's special. You started by saying it's special. So it doesn't feel healthy to me. That doesn't mean it's necessarily unhealthy. Maybe if I did all that and then gave you the cancer medication and your cancer went away, it was a healthy thing, even though I did all this weird power stuff. I don't know. But to me, it's a big caution because it's very easy to abuse power in relationships like that. And I've had people like beg me for a mantra. Yeah. And they've come from their system and they know that's a thing and they've been with me for a while and they're ready. Like, that's not how it's going to work. You know, it's not, if I did it, it's not going to be healthy for me to be doing that as the teacher, you know. Um, so, a mantra, depending on where it's coming from, who's teaching it, what their background is, people will think of it as kind of like religiously powerful or magically powerful, like literally the word is, or words. I'll just say word to simplify. The word itself is just literally magically powerful, like abracadabra, you know, like it's just somehow in and of itself. And some people don't think of it that way. So you have to kind of decide where you're coming down. It doesn't really matter to me. But some people talk about them, and it really is like this. You know, it's kryptonite. It's a rock, but it's a whole different than every other. It's its own thing just by its nature, as opposed to how you hold it, how you carry it, how you repeat it, how you intone it, which is about you offering to something through the avenue of that yoga of the mouth, right? Um, and different people have different views, and they're not going to tend to meet. Because I'll say the thing I said at the end, and people argue with, "Oh, are you kidding me? It's magically by God given down." And or okay, I'm just saying there's two ways it gets viewed. Um, what I prefer to do with a mantra is describe the concerns I have over how they're delivered, the concerns I have over how they're understood, and help you develop an idea for the intention and place of use for a mantra for you. So, why do you want a mantra? How is it going to be used? Where is it going to be used? You know, when, right? And then have you write your own mantra. And it could be in English, it's fine. It could be in Latin, it could be gobbledygook,
Well,
could be Cherokee, doesn't matter, right? But then you practice that mantra to serve your needs. You know what it means. And of course, I don't have to know what it is, right? It's not, it's yours. You could share it too, whatever you want.